Hi there, everybody. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another episode of my album reviews. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Graveyard's Lights Out. We're looking at this album for two reasons in particular. The first one, and this is to me a very important one, this is the core reason for wanting to talk about this album today specifically, is record stores. Your local record stores, whether they're a locally owned or they're a chain, because I shop both. Um, and I mean the actual record stores. I don't mean the record department of, a big box, not to name any names like, Walmart. But I'm talking, here in Canada, we have Sunrise Records, as I think the one chain that we have left. I don't know what you might have in the US or elsewhere in the world. We also have a couple local record stores. I don't shop a lot of vinyl, so I tend to frequent just one of our local record shops, which has been around forever. It's called Dr. Disc. It's on our main strip of Olet here in Windsor, Ontario. This is not a shout out for them, but if you're here, hey, go check them out. That's where I buy a lot of my CDs because they obviously have a great selection. But anyways, while I was in there shopping one day, they play full albums over top in the over the PA system, as a good record store should. But they don't play the popular new releases. That's what the chain stores are like. That's what it's like when you go into Sunrise Records. You hear the popular stuff being played. You go into Dr. Disc, you hear rarer stuff, less common stuff. Um, I went in there one day and this album got put on. And the first song, I was in there when they started the album right from the beginning. And the first song, it was okay. Second song comes on, I'm hooked. Right away. By the end of the second song, I'm hooked on this album. I spent the entire album in the store listening to this album. I fell in love with it right away listening to it. So, let me get into what I fell in love with. So, side A, the first track is called An Industry of Murder. It's the worst song on the album. Honestly, in my opinion, the album starts off with the worst song on the album. It was the most cliche, basic kind of metally sort of song. Oh, hold on. Before I get too further, I should also mention the reason why the sound of this band captivated me right off the bat. Now, I did mention, I don't know if I mentioned it was released in 2012, okay? By a modern band in 2012. This band sounds like early Black Sabbath. And when I say early Black Sabbath, I'm talking about the actual Black Sabbath album. I'm You may have watched my review for Iron Butterflies Heavy, which, I just did not that long ago. This, I don't want to say it's the same as that. It's not. It's a different sound, but the tone, like, this is true modern classic metal. This does. It belongs with classic metal. It's got that blues soaked, heavy blues soaked. And I don't mean like AC/DC style blues. I mean Zeppelin style blues. I mean Black Sabbath style blues, where you also get that jazz texturing mixed in there. I'm talking like that really heavy late 60s, early 70s, but with modern recording. And the vocals on here, the vocalist's voice is just such a gorgeous blues soaked voice. Like, if you are into blues, check out this album. I mean, it is really worth checking out. If you are into metal, this album is listed as a metal album. That's what section it's in. It is in the metal section. but it is not metal as in what everybody nowadays would describe as metal. This is what would be described as classic metal. However, that being said, back to An Industry of Murder, well, sounding like that classic stuff, it is the closest to being a modern-ish metal song. It's just kind of fast and heavy and it's an industry of murder. Which brings me to another point with this album. Do not, if you need to have catchy choruses, album's not for you. This album is not catchy choruses. This is not a pop styled album. This is a blues rock styled, I mean real gut pull at you style. Oh, just okay. So all that being said, An Industry of Murder, the first track, is the weakest song on the whole album because it's the one that's the least bluesy on the whole album, really. From there, we go into Slow Motion Countdown. This is a song where I immediately fell in love with this band, and this song was a reason why I immediately stopped and listened to this album while I'm still searching for other music. Slow Motion Countdown, it is a slow song. There are quite a few slower songs on this album, but these are not ballad as in mushy, goopy, romantic-y, power ballad, crap 80s metal stuff, okay? These are slower songs like Alice Cooper's Ballad of Dwight Fry, or Dead Babies, or Black Sabbath, or Dazed and Confused, Kashmir. You get what I'm saying. Slower, but not slow. Like they get into this beautiful blues-soaked groove that is just so mesmerizing. Something about the Slow Motion Countdown. At that point, like I said, I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. From there we go to 7/7. Song titles on this album, once again, when I was saying there's no poppy choruses, nothing like that, artistic styled song titles, as in you are not going to hear 7/7/7/7/7/7, nothing like that, okay? The titles reflect the song, not the way they're trying to grab you. The big difference between what is popular music and what is great music. I mean, not to say you can't have great popular music, but music, real artistic music, for lack of better description, okay? But back to the song. 7/7, great song. Picks up right away from where Slow Motion was, gives you a beat, gets you going, gets your heart pumping. I mean, it's a rock out song, but it's not a metal, it's rock out, like it's heart pumping. Honestly, when I'm out exercising, it's a great song to have on when I'm exercising. It really gets the heart pumping, gets you going. You know, you just want to kind of bulk up and, get in a mode. But just keeps going and pumping and pumping. And that also leads to, they mix this album. Like the song mix and the order everything's done in, it has a beautiful flow to it because it bring, like the album starts out fast and heavy, takes you down really fast. And it's the most dramatic change, but when it takes you down to give you that moment to chill and relax and get a groove, pace yourself, get going. And then it grabs you and picks you back up again, and you just start firing off on all cylinders. From there, it takes you to the suits of the law and the uniforms. Feels like a very classic 60s style, bluesy, protesty kind of song. It's not protesty in a cliche protesty way. It's just the way it feels, the vibe to it, the way it grabs at you. You know, they're complaining about the man. It's like a true blues song, man. It's the, it's hard to believe that this was written by a band that I am assuming is Scandinavian, based off of, the liner notes and whatnot. I didn't research, sorry. But you would almost think that this was honestly one of a band in the 60s that was really caught in the riots in the US and caught up in all the protest dramas in Vietnam and stuff like that, just based off of the content of the songs and based off of the music and whatnot. It's just the way it feels to me. It's got that great blues presence to it. It's fantastic. From there we go over to side B, Endless Night. Endless Night's a great song. I don't have a lot to say about it because it's a great song. It's the perfect way to start off. If you have a vinyl, it'd be the perfect way to start off the second side of the album. It kicks it off the right way, gets you going, gets the mood on, gets your heart pumping, keeps you up there and running. From there, we go into Hard Times Lovin'. Yes, this would be under the romantic-ish vein, but it's not that type of romantic. This is slow. This is sexy. When this song is black silk nighties on red silk sheets with nothing but candlelights playing around it. That it's slow and it is sexy. It is not romantic. It is meant to be sultry. It's meant to be arousing. It's definitely meant to set a mood and to go with that mood. And then from there, so now that you've gotten in the mood, from there we go to Goliath. Goliath would be the closest to an album filler song on this album, I would say, and even then, it's still fantastic. It's one of those fantastic album tracks, a deep cut on this album. Like if there were singles being released on it in the radio and stuff like that, in North America or Canada and whatnot, this would not be a single, but if you pick up the album, listen to it, it is a great album cut. Fool in the End, a little bit slower. Not slow, but a little bit slower. Great song, once again, very much in that bluesy mentality. Really, has got some great hooks. This band has hooks in their music, and I don't mean that cheap, repetitive catch. I mean real hooks. Like, you can feel the emotion in this music. It is absolutely beautiful. From there we go into the last song on the album, which is 2020, and then in brackets, Tunnel Vision. Great closing track to the album. Absolutely fantastic closing track to the album. It closes out just perfectly. Once again, like, the whole album just reeks of that great classic rock blues vibe. Another comparison, I guess, if you want, although it's not really a fair, accurate comparison, would be if you take AC/DC's Ride On, all right, which is viewed as probably the pinnacle of Bon Scott, Angus and Malcolm collaboration on a single song. The greatest blues song that they've got that just absolutely captivates you, okay? That is every slower song on this album. When the album gets fast and heavy, it's every great classic rock heavier song you've ever heard. Like, and I mean the heavy stuff, not the thin stuff, like I'm not going to try and compare this to any type of Eric Clapton or Cream, because it's not Eric Clapton or Cream. That's not the right comparison, because Eric Clapton and Cream, yes, they had thunderous music, but it didn't have heavy. It wasn't full. It wasn't thick. It wasn't rich. That's what this album is. This album I would put up against Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti as an honest comparison to give you an idea of what you could anticipate from this album, or what you would like about this album, or what you should or go to with this album. If you have ever sat through and enjoyed Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti, you will love this album. There's no question about it. They don't. I really. My biggest complaint about the album is the lack of information in the liner notes. It's got the lyrics, which is great, wonderful, okay, good. But I don't know who does what on what songs. I don't know who's, like I really got to go do the internet search thing. And as a guy who wants to pull out the album and just kind of look at it, it doesn't give you enough of it. It does for the additional musicians, but not for the band itself. So I don't know who's the vocalist. I don't know who's the guitarist. I don't know who's the bassist. I don't know who's the drummer, But, and I do apologize, I'm going to butcher these names. The band is comprised of 4 people. Joachim Nilsson. Yantana La Rocaram. Axel Sojberg, sorry guys, and Rickard Edlund. My apologies, not enough time around Scandinavian people, so I don't know proper pronunciation for stuff. So if I did bugger that up, my apologies, it was unintentional. Those 4 guys comprise the band. Those 4 are amazing. Like, I really cannot get over the vocals on this album. They're just so soulful and gorgeous and beautiful. The musicianship is beyond top notch. It really is. This is not a band where I think the vocalist is what makes the band. The vocalist is an incredible part of this band, but the dynamic of the whole band is beautiful. Like, after I listened to this album, I bought this album, I brought it home, listened to it for like a week straight, maybe 2 weeks. I was back in the store to pick up the next couple albums of theirs I could find. I've got to double check to see how many albums I have in total. I'm not sure if I have the whole catalog or not yet. Out of the whole catalog, that I have so far, this is my favorite from the band. Their other ones are wonderful as well, but this one, there is some type of magic on this album. I mean, truly, some type of magic on this album. So if you are into true blue classic metal, or classic hard rock, if you like. Even if you like Cream, okay? I mean, if you like Cream, if you like Zeppelin, if you like Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, not so much Purple, but, Black Sabbath, especially the earlier Black Sabbath, Bon Scott era AC/DC, I just, even Jethro Tull, there's kind of that vibe going on in here, but this album, seriously, Graveyard, lights out. A must. If you are a serious fan of music, a must album. Anyways, this one's run a little long for only a single disc. My apologies. Until next time, please make sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe. That way you get a little notification when I post a new video. leave a comment. I'd love to hear if you listen to these albums. I'd love to read your views or whatnot on these albums. Drop me a line. Otherwise, as always, I love you all. Peace and take care.